Titan standards that's going to be the most advantageous to you as a consumer is the fact that we use only a number 1 or 2 grade lumber, Georgia Pacific or Louisiana Pacific. What does that mean? It means that we're not cutting corners on the lumber that's inside these walls that you can't see of. Now, is that important to you that we not cut corners on the lumber? You want the quality of lumber that you would build with if you were going to build it yourself, right? And would you use the very best lumber available? Of course you wouldn't. So would I. But here's the thing. We use not only the best lumber, but we use more of it. And let me give you some examples. For example, you look at this sidewall here. This is an 8-foot sidewall. You notice that I'm not touching the ceiling right now, right? All right, I'm not the tallest guy in the world. I'm 5'11". But as you can see, we have an 8-foot sidewall instead of like in our competitors' homes where we have a 7-foot sidewall. The difference between that, simply put, is a foot, right? But now keep that in mind as I continue to talk, because I'm going to draw that into dollar signs for you and help you understand how the value of that dollar or that extra lumber, that extra foot, benefits you and your family. So, every exterior wall in the entire manufactured home industry is going to be a 2x4 on 16-inch centers. And most people won't tell you that. But I'm going to tell you that because that's a manufactured housing standard. It's required by the HUD code. What they don't tell you also is that you don't have to use a 2x4. And you certainly don't have to use a 2x4 that's 8 foot tall. So just in this room alone, let's talk about that. We've got a number 1 or 2 grade lumber, which not everybody has to use, not everybody does use. We have one that's a 2x4 that's 8 foot tall. Not everybody uses an 8 foot 2x4. And everything's on a 16-inch center, both on our inside and our outside walls. Okay, so in this room alone, we've got 3, a lot of extra lumber, right? In this room that you're standing in alone, I would dare say that we've got about 25 to 35% more lumber just in the wall studs alone. Do you think that your home being built out of 25% to 30% more wall studs is a good thing or a bad thing? It's a good thing, isn't it? And why is it a good thing? Exactly. It's going to be a better constructed home. It's going to be more solid. Hey, look, when the wind blows on this house, when the rain and the hurricane or whatever it is that may come up against this house, do you think this house has a better chance of surviving inclement weather or a worse chance of surviving inclement weather? It's a better chance, isn't it? And so the opposite of that is true. If it doesn't have those things, it has a worse chance. Now, one of the other things that we can do, we've already talked about how we've constructed these walls out of number 1 and 2 grade lumber on 16-inch centers. We've already talked about these sidewalls are 8 foot tall, but look over here. How tall is this? That's a whole lot higher than 8 foot. Wouldn't you agree with that? Okay, so we've got the best wall construction inside of this 1/2-inch sheetrock that you can have. You cannot have it any better. It doesn't get any better than that. All right, but that fact alone isn't going to be the only factor that protects you and your family for the years to come. It's not the only reason that we're able to offer the warranties and pass along the values that we are. One of the other many benefits to buying an Oak Creek home made exclusively for Titan to Titan standards is the fact that we have a floor joist system that's also on 16-inch centers. Now, many of our competitors will go to 19-inch, but a lot of them do 24 inches. So you have a 16-inch center, a 19-inch center, or a 24-inch center. Now, which one would you prefer, Mr. Customer? The 16-inch center? Okay. Why is that? Absolutely. You're going to have a lot more floor joists on a 16-inch centers, which leads to a heavier house. But that's not the main thing. It's not just that it's heavier. What does that mean to you? When you got more lumber, better grade of lumber, it's heavier, it's a sturdier house, right? It's going to protect you and your family. What's one of the other benefits, though? The value of the house, right? Would you say that a house that has floor joists on 16-inch centers is more valuable than one that has 24-inch centers, or less valuable? Obviously, it's more value. And it's not just that there's more lumber in it, because there's about there's about 50% more floor joists in one that's on 24-inch centers. There's about 25% more floor joists in one that has it on 19-inch centers. Okay, so it's not just the value of the lumber, but what it does for the construction integrity of your home. It's obviously infinitely more valuable than just that little bit of extra lumber, wouldn't you agree? But watch this, there's more. Okay, I'm not quite done yet. Now, if your wall studs on the exterior are on 16-inch centers, but your floor joists are on 19-inch centers, there's no way for your floor joist to wind up in alignment with your wall studs. So I'll put it to you this way. Your rib cage, your body, I choose to believe made by God, was designed for your rib cage in the front to be lined up with the rib cage in the back. It's all connected. Otherwise, if somebody was to help crack your back or walk on your back, or you had something fall on you, or you're doing bench presses and stuff, it would cave in on itself and then crush your internal workings, right? Well, in the same way, when you do what we refer to as rib cage construction, that's where your floor joist lines up directly with the wall stud. Now, mind you, it's a number 1 and 2 grade wall stud and a number 1 and 2 grade floor joist as well. When those line up together, the reason that's important is because of the structural integrity of the home. It creates a little box, or a bunch of little boxes all the way down the house. Now, when your home is traveling from the factory to its final destination, which will be your land, either you already have land or we're going to help you with land, wherever it's going to go down the road at about 60 miles an hour. In some cases, 70 miles an hour if the house is light enough. Ours can't really be pulled at 70 miles an hour because they're too heavy. They don't make a truck that big. So it takes a little longer to get there. But it's going to arrive there with a lot better structural integrity just because the box is tighter. It's not going to be racking back and forth and shaking back. Have you ever been behind a manufactured home? You see it swaying like that? It wasn't a Titan, let me tell you that. Because Titans don't do that. Titans have ribcage construction and they ride really tight. That frame that we talked about earlier with those members that go all the way out to the exterior walls, helping to support all the weight of these exterior walls. Can you see why that's important? Many of my smart shoppers say the exact same thing. And let me ask you this. Would you buy a home that didn't have ribcage construction? Would you buy one that the floor joists weren't on 16-inch centers? Would you buy one that didn't have number 1 and 2 grade lumber inside the walls or inside the floor? You wouldn't, would you? And neither would I.